Why do I sense that we've picked up another pathetic life form?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. I'm here with my good friend and member of the Gambit Alliance, Calvin Awesome. We're actually doing another video on his channel in just a little bit. We're going to post them around the same time, so follow in the video description. You'll see a link, and at the end of the video, you'll also see a link there as well, I think. That being said, Calvin, how are you today?
I am doing super good. I'm also very excited for the very long awaited road ahead that we've been talking about for pretty much 3 months ever since we got the last update.
Yeah, I mean, I I think they had to tell us that the Grand Inquisitor was coming so that the entire community wasn't just like just fully give up on Inquisition. But like at the same time, I'm like, can we actually get any information? Because it's nice to know a little bit of what's going on. Though I don't know, this road ahead actually didn't have that much information about what's going to be happening in the future.
Just a few more IOUs there for you.
A little bit, yeah. So, Grand Inquisitor, we don't have the kit yet, so we're not going to really discuss that much. You can see his seething rage on the forum post, but it's actually kind of a microcosm of what the community has been doing lately. Just sitting there seething about things. That being said, Datacrons are the thing that me and Calvin want to talk to you guys about today. And there's been a lot of speculation. I've had Calvin. You have your own Discord server. You have a podcast. You have a YouTube channel. You stream. I mean, you're a very busy man in this game at this point. And I am sure, like you're also a very competitive player. I'm sure you've heard a lot of people say things like, I'm just going to quit. No matter what happens when Datacrons come out, I'm just going to quit because they're going to suck. Like, I'm sure you've heard that
Yes,
a
yeah,
few times.
no, I have. Especially, I think one of the things that, and this, we don't need to spend time on this, but like one of the things that I think really hindered that or really encouraged that was the fact that whoever shared or leaked the screenshots when they did, it was very clear that it was malicious in the sense that they showed like all like what at the time in the testing, what was negative about it. And that one of the big complaints that I heard a lot of people talking about was like, I'm going to quit if for two things, if it was going to be heavy monetization or if it was going to pull you away from other things. Like one of the screenshots made sure to capture the fact that in the original testing, this required relic levels to roll your Datacrons. And that does not appear to be the case currently in their final rendition here.
Right, like it looks like you can roll them, but like you might need to, in order to use their to their full extent, you might actually need some relic levels. But yeah, like
yeah, in that sense, yes.
Yeah, this looks. I mean, I'll just say it. Like I know a guy who was in the beta test program, and they just said like, wow, this looks way better than what we were testing. Like, I mean, it's ludicrous, honestly, to me how. I mean, people want to jump the gun. People have been telling me I'm ridiculous for like, don't defend CG. Like, this is obviously bad, and I'm like, no, like, can we wait?
Well, you
and
are
see?
ridiculous, Sarah. They do have a point.
Well, well, thanks. I mean, there's a certain inevitability to that, whatever I'm spouting. But I do think that there's like. We don't know if this might end up being awful. Because we still don't know. But I feel like this looks a lot more player friendly than the initial glimpse that we got at the hand of, as you say, a malicious person who just wanted to cause some damage and leave, probably.
Yep, very, very, very much. Most likely, they wanted to throw a little bomb on their way out. But yeah, I mean, these look really stinking interesting. I don't see there obviously is a lot to unpack. This whole reason we're making a video. This
Right.
does not seem too far out from all the other progression we've seen. To me, it just seems like an advanced version of mods with a hint of Omicron mixed in with it. Like it's not if people are quitting over this because this is just one more layer, then their quitting was inevitable. It wasn't Datacrons or CG in this exact moment that was causing that. It's just it was their time to leave out. But this does not. Yeah, it doesn't seem miles. If you were able to get over mods and you were able to get over Omicrons, this will be easy eventually.
Well, yeah, like it's going to take a while to adjust to this, and I mean, I liked what you said before we started recording on this. You said that it felt like mods 3.0, and that's exactly what it feels like at first, at least. I mean, we have all these stats we can add to certain squads. I think the biggest thing, the thing that I'm the most trepidatious about, the most I don't know, just fearful of, frankly, is I don't know how it's going to feel to have a seasonal meta where I work on a set of things for a whole, season or however long it is, and then they're just like rolled up into a little ball and tossed in the trash. Like, all that work that goes into it, like it sounds like we're getting materials back and everything, but I don't know. I'm like, man, I really liked having my resistance trooper being really super badass. Like, and now he's gone. That's just gone.
And that was my big critique before we even got them, because really Datacrons at their core, their identity before the leak, after the leak, during the leak, whatever, is that they're temporary bonuses. And this is new. This is new a little bit to Galaxy of Heroes. And the reason why I don't love that, and I think I might be able to get over it, but the reason why I don't love that is because I don't feel that it respects my knowledge of kits. Like a little shameless plug here for the Mad Awesome Show, the podcast that me and Tila Mad do. We have a specific segment in our podcast where we play a game where we read off a description of a kit and the other person has to guess what it is. And one of the reasons why that's fun and exciting is because we pride ourselves on knowing what, Night Sister Acolyte's basic does, or what JMK's leadership has a certain clause to. With Datacrons, it devalues my investment in the knowledge and the study and the time that I put into getting to know said character, said ability. So that part, I don't like it, and I don't think that's really ever going to come around. I might just have to learn to live with it.
Right. I think it's going to take some adjustment, frankly. And you're right. I mean, in some ways, it is going to undermine your kit knowledge. But at the same time, I mean, I also think that this is like the dream game. It's not a game mode, a game something like progression mode. Yeah, like this is the dream thing for theory crafters, because like modding, a lot of times it's like, okay, like a new team comes out, okay, fine, I guess I'll throw a crit avoid arrow on CLS this time. Like that's all right. Like that's it. That's all the remod that I need. But for this, we're gonna have to consistently, like, we're also gonna have to remod things as things go along. But then we're also going to have to, figure out which characters we want to, build around and stuff. Like they gave a cool example about like Ayla Sakura. Every time she stuns, she gets a bonus turn, and it's like if she just like stuns every time, then she just gets an infinite number of turns. It sounds like,
and just calling people to assist when she's going into stun. It's
like it. So I don't think there's any teams that you or I have ever built where it's like, man, I'm gonna make huge use out of Ayla Sakura's special talents. Like she's gonna be the centerpiece for this squad. Usually it's like, well, she has some cool stuff, but like she's with a Galactic Legend and he's kind of steals the show.
Yeah, I mean, I got to use her a lot in threes, but it was always carried by Jedi Knight Luke or Cam or someone a little bit more flashy.
Right, she's not the carry, and now she potentially will be the carry.
Yep.
And so what we're gonna have to plan around how to get around that. Like, what if she's on defense and they've set it up so that she is able to start getting stuns, and you're just like, well, all right, I guess I don't get any more turns. Like we're gonna have to figure our way through that. And I mean, it's a great opportunity, frankly, for theory crafters who also create content. But it does look interesting. And actually, I thought it was interesting too. They did actually mention more theory crafting. Like they actually I don't know if CG has ever acknowledged that phrase theory crafting. Maybe they have. I haven't noticed it, I guess, not recently at least.
I feel like they might have avoided it to a certain extent because theorycrafting for a long time, and maybe even still today, has been kind of a thorn in their side. Like they're like specific interactions that they didn't account for that come in and do things that they didn't really want them to do. And I think Datacrons are really their solution to that. Number one, letting those things happen and being able to design them. And number two, letting the players kind of get away with it. Because let's say, the most broken thing happens and the Cup is beating JMK. Like, Cup is beating JMK. There's some weird theory craft that allowed that to happen. I'm using that kind of as a hyperbole example. But
Sure.
that being said, in 3 months it's gone. So who cares if we broke the game? It's going to be fixed in 3 months, and that was planned, and that was the expectation that everybody walked into on. It's not like you saw that Radis comes out and he's immediately beating JMK, and you go and you relic him up to relic 7, and then CG didn't account for it, and they have to nerf him. It gives room for theory crafting without having to nerf characters ever.
Yeah, I mean, and if they're responsible about it, which, frankly, I mean, CG has created a lot of really good kits. I mean, people cry broken. They're real quick to pull that card. But I do think that, for the most part, CG has made fairly balanced kits. I mean, there's things that need readjustments, for sure. But I do think that as long as they continue along that path, then that's good. Like, if they decide to go... I mean, if they just get lazy, they're like... I mean, you can imagine a conversation between CG staff and, like, they're like, what do you think? You think this will work? I don't know. How don't we just add it? We'll find out. And if not, like, no big deal. It's gone in 3 months.
Honestly, I feel like to a certain extent it might be like that because some of the stuff that we found that ends up breaking things, like, this is so long ago. I don't know if it was P4, P3. I think P4 of the Sith raid, we figure out that Acolyte's double basic or whatever allows for like 100% turn meter loop or whatever. Like, it took us a minute to find that. So some of these we might find that they're doing that in the last month. And then again, he just doesn't have to worry about it.
Right. Well, yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see exactly how they approach it. I mean, I guess I'll just ask you what your thoughts are, just right off the bat. I mean, well, right off the bat, we've been going for 12 minutes, but, like, what... Do you feel like this is a babysitter program so that they can just focus on Lord of the Rings and we can just play, like, they just have one person with one computer, like, kind of just like, hey, I'll do this for Datacron, we'll change this meta up a little bit, and like, and then all their focus can be on Lord of the Rings while the people in Galaxy of Heroes have Datacrons to kind of a little bit keep things fresh? Like, is that what their intent is, in your opinion?
No. And I say this very strongly because we have heard the community, not all the community, but parts of the community have had this sentiment for years. I remember someone saying the exact same thing when GAC first came out, that, okay, this is CG's new way to kind of use all your teams so they don't really have to adjust the meta that often. And now they can go and work on, at the time, it wasn't the Lord of the Rings game that they were talking about. It was SWGH.2. I don't know if you remember. I don't remember the rumors about this, that CG had another game they were working on or something like that way back when.
Like they're going to make a 2.0 Galaxy of Heroes kind of thing, like where it just, they started over, they re-rolled the whole game, basically?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember there was another game in the works that CG was working on, and that was everyone's pitch, was now with GAC in place, the game is just a cash cow, they're just going to write it out. All they have to do is change the feats every month, and it'll be fine. And you can relabel it to pretty much anything that CG is, not anything, but a lot of the stuff CG is, and you can do it with Conquest. Oh, they just a cash cow. They're just milking it. They're just going to go work on whatever and just update each Conquest, 40 of this faction rather than 40 of that faction. I wouldn't bank on it.
Right. Oh, and that's what I've said, honestly, is like, I found the new thing that people can point to and blame. It's Lord of the Rings. People are going to be like, CG hates us, this game sucks, blah, blah, blah. And it's all because they're focusing everything on Lord of the Rings. And who cares that they don't care about, like, obviously they don't. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's just a convenient excuse. Like, Why can't we just say CG sucks instead? Like instead of like blaming it on something like Lord of the Rings.
Just move on.
Yeah, I mean it's either it's a good choice or a bad choice for us. Why do we have to blame it on anything? Frankly,
I
but I
remember
mean
when
that's
they were having I don't remember, if you remember this, but there were game pauses on the loading screen like a year ago, and like there was
mhm.
some like really high end guild officer that was like, "This is just a sign that they have taken down the maintenance, that they are just kind of letting it ride out, and it's just going to be dead within a couple of months." Just like, oh my gosh.
Isn't it interesting? Like I just don't get it. Like people are so quick to assume that the game is going to die. Like why are you excited for the game to die? I don't know. This is a rant that we should probably
I say, yeah,
just
this is not
continue
really
on from.
Datacron, but
But
my bad.
no, I mean it's a constant thing of I don't know, interest to me. It's not even amusing. It's a slight bit annoying, but it's like if you hate the game enough that you want it to end, then just quit. And if you don't want it to end, then stop spreading these rumors. But anyways, I will say this, that I can respect people feeling passionate about this game. Like I feel passionate too, and just because I don't agree with someone, just because they're being annoying about it doesn't mean that I can't respect how they're feeling about it.
Yep,
So
because it comes from a place that they care. That they wouldn't say that if they didn't.
right, exactly. Okay, so looking at these Datacrons a little bit more specifically, like, okay, so one of the things that they said, which is the biggest thing that everyone's wondering, I mean, and we still don't know the answer, but okay, so the progression in Datacrons is completely inside, like it's a self-contained system. Like we're gonna have Datacron currency of some sort, but
Yes.
we're not going to be spending anything else. Like we're not going to be spending credits to upgrade them. It sounds like we're not going to be spending relics to upgrade them specifically. To interact with them, yes, but to actually upgrade them and to acquire them, like it's a completely self-contained upgrade system. And then of course they're going to charge crystals for people who want to get more materials. But how are your thoughts on that? Like what were your thoughts before? Like did you think we were going to be like intermingling currencies? Like guild store is now, we're gonna buy stuff with the guild store, we're gonna etc.
I didn't think it was going to be that way long term. They might have launched it like that, but ultimately it's just going to end up being the same thing. Or pull back to the original example of mods, is when mods first came out, they actually, this was really crappy, and CG realized this, is that they had to share energy with Cantina. So you were constantly having to make this choice.
Right.
Okay, do I want to work on mods or do I want to work on a character? And that's kind of what they were about to jump back into with what again, with what the leak was showing they were going to do with Datacrons, is they were going to give you a choice. Okay, you can either take so and so to Relic, or you can get this new Datacron. And I'm really glad they went the decision they went, because I think they would have gone this way no matter what. And this way just requires a lot less complaining from the player base to get them to change it.
Right. Well, yeah, this seems okay, at least. I mean, we'll see. What are your thoughts? Like the stats look, I don't know, okay, I guess. I mean, we don't know exactly what it's going to look like to keep re-rolling and everything. But like, I don't know, the target's good. Like unlocking these bonus stats,
Mm-hmm.
getting the potency. Like everyone gets 16% potency or tenacity. Everyone gets 18% potency. Like none of these. I don't have they released speed on these. Like I don't. It doesn't. Every time I looked, it didn't look like speed was an upgradable stat.
No, yeah, it's curiously enough, both speed and offense are not on here, which are
Mm,
like the two most important stats. And I say that in a good way. I say that in a good way because if those get on here, that's kind of how we dip into like really harsh forms of power creep, and then those roles also become a lot more important and a lot more frustrating when they don't go your way. So the fact that those two aren't in there it's probably a good thing. In the same way that I'm very happy that Relic 9 did not add speed. I'm happy that Datacrons, at least in their, the stats that are going to consistently be there, don't have it either.
right. Okay, so we're out of time on this side, guys. We're going to talk about Datacrons more on Calvin's channel. Go click on the link below in the video description, and we'll see you in a little bit. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome.